Hey chat, can you hear me? Hello guys. Yes. Hello Patrick. Is Spectre already in the chat? Spectre. Who said he's here somewhere. 1 hour ago. JJ. Um yeah, if Spectre is in the chat, please maybe you can say something. I think isn't it? No, I don't see him in the list. So let's see who's here. We got Ink. Ink. Uh, okay. So is somewhere somebody in the chat? Like Spectre, Ink, then Aurai. Hello guys. Oh, Benji Sketch is here. Hello Ink. Ink is also here. Spectre is still not, I think. Mm. maybe he comes in later. So yeah, Ink is here, so he was the next. Mhm. Um, no, wait. No. Change the stream title. Where is docs? Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the follows, guys. This Volume Doodles, Benji Sketch, Ichigaru, then FTF. Nice. Well over 1,000. Cool. I was initially happy with this piece, but after about 2 days it looked like something is wrong. Well, it looks nice so far. Uh, there's a couple of things I think you can improve or just be aware of. And first start is maybe the format you use or the canvas size. I mean the ratio, landscape or portrait. There's always has some impact on the painting. Always kind of is a, I think it's a square. Almost it's a bit higher. Um, and usually if you want to go for a rectangular shape or format, like one to one, or some even use a slightly broader, like just just a little bit more width than high, because our eyes perceive like vertical is perceived as larger than horizontal. It's optical brain thing. But anyway, I mean, landscapes or portray, it makes kind of huge difference, and you feel it's it's kind of like undecided a bit, and but I mean any format can work, and it's all about what's inside. But maybe think about like having really broad like landscape format that's 69, 62 to 9 ratio or more, like 2 to 1, and portrait can also be nice for many things. Could even ask if this tower subject is could be nice, a bit larger, a bit more height to work with, because the rectangular format is pretty hard to. It's almost like neutral. It's really hard to make something work, but this just was a thought I had when I seen this. And yeah, the values and or maybe start with composition is maybe the next thing. I mean, it's not bad, but there's some layering and really a lot of attention to this guy and the sky, the clouds, circular arrangement, or and the first thing usually you want to decide is the horizontal line, the eye view, eye level in such a landscape painting, and it's kind of not. I mean, it would be, my guess would be like according to this perspective. It's like a 2 point perspective. Somewhere, I mean, it suggests that this is the somewhere around here because the clouds, and but it's not clear. It could be more clear or stronger than with a few things. And composition wise, it's really hard to say. I mean, what the idea is originally, and these towers or concrete is kind of the main focus. It's not nothing complicated, so there's not a lot going on, but it's nice the straight view. I don't know if I would, and this small guy, and if you want to enforce some of this, is this really huge? Or I mean, the scaling, and then have perspective, like looking up, or are you maybe even flying above? So often in deciding the camera point where you look at the scene, and composition is really close together. Something that's choosing the view angle or camera, the eye level tells or dictates a lot how you later, what composition you kind of can make it work, or and but to make it more dynamic, it's quite static, and maybe that's the intention. I don't know. And if it's the intention, then you could maybe play more with the format and really make these things like using almost the whole canvas. Maybe even stick out of the canvas and have it really statically, really graphical composition, like straight view, not much perspective. Okay, the headset just turned off. Uh, I mean, you can. There's a lot of possibilities with. I mean, I kind of reminds me of Odyssey 2001, like this rock. Uh, how was it called? My brain. And the monolith. That's kind of iconic thing in the movie. But it's not huge. It's just a block of stone, solid black stone, cut like one of these pieces, and there's a camera view just showing it straight, standing there in a dark landscape, kind of pre-civilization. Yeah, the salesman guy, he sales the scale. it, it's kind of working, yeah, because you get some. I mean, without this guy, you have less or almost no idea. Another thing could be like trees that look iconic or a bit like real, not stylized, that make scale, or usually this and I mean, yeah, why not? And also I kind of like this little way it's positioned, but to if you into perspective, then maybe this is just kind of straight 2 point perspective. If you want to have a 3 point perspective, it's kind of hard. You just have to set the, yeah, are you looking up so these lines would get smaller, but then you could maybe play with perspective, and I don't know how you feel about this. But this you can use guides or just simple view guides and work it out, or making, if you know how to use Blender, maybe just it would be simple to set up something and then play with perspective and use this as a guide. Maybe put it behind, or just to have the perspective, and then you can paint over it. Just simple gray blocks. You don't even need lightning or something. And then yeah, usually if you look from down up, and it's maybe even bigger and forced perspective, then could look huge, or even more impressive. That's one thing. And also, I mean, also like to kind of really put small things in, like small people. It could also imagine it could be larger and still working because some distance. But overall, it's yeah, it's nice this spike stuff, but still feels empty a bit. And yeah, where the eye level is, you can which one be far from these two guys. I need more. Why is this always? I put even more. Yeah, so somewhere around here. So also possible put this guy on kind of this line somewhere. No, this is the first one we started. Just it's there's Jack Sparrow, Sparrow Jack Spectre. Ah, he's now here. Okay, we can make you after this. Just yeah, and overall it just yeah, it's the perspective is off a bit or something is I don't know, something is confusing. But also, I mean, composition wise, it's a bit boring because it's not so dynamic. I don't know. These are more, I mean, off center is okay, but in this case, putting something that has like two entities like this is almost it's boring. Counts of 3, 5, and 7 are strangely more interesting to our brain than just 2, and it's centered same distance on top and bottom. The square format, I think if you play around with this thing, maybe make a really panorama kind of thing and put these towers on what it is, maybe even slightly cup the top or make it really portray more large, more height, and use that to emphasize on this. And this would also be like a composition thing. So clouds are also nice, cool. With we try with the lightning. The lightning is something also that adds to the something is confusing, and you also can look at the thumbnail. Always keep an eye from the distance. I think it could be nice, also with this contrast and colors. If it's just maybe something more exciting, more interesting, more interestingly arranged, or yeah, with more perspective. But I think overall, yeah, the lightning is something you don't know where it comes from. Although hard to see. It's almost like this area is illuminated. There's some lightning object must be here, but in the clouds almost. And the lightning on these things is this almost. Okay, the headset keeps turning off. It's nice. Maybe I should switch to the microphone, the other one. Um, yeah, the lightning is coming from the front on this tower. Oh, there's no real shadow. There's some shadow here, indicates there's some lightning coming. Something from here. I don't know. That's it's more like almost like diffuse overcast lightning, but there's a strong lightning happening. And I mean, you can make it all work, but maybe try to have some more lightning, a direction clear, and maybe even all these part could be more dark in the shadow, and the lightning is hitting from on these sides on the clouds. Could also help a lot the dynamic and composition, more dramatic. I think you could even with this composition, this setup, you could make a lot with just fixing the lightning. Why is this headset doing it to me? Oh, is this technique? Right. But I don't know how long you've been painting or what else you did, and you just keep going and try maybe make thumbnails, try out with compositions. It really helps a lot. Then this is your first landscape. Ah, okay. No, it's great. It's nice. Uh, I don't know if this works when I'm just making a quick over paint, if you don't mind. It's sometimes the easiest way to explain. Like already it starts, like there's so much light going on in the clouds. It's distracting the other things. You have to find the balance. That's the hardest. Or needs a lot of practice. And the more you do, the more you recognize these things and know how to work, what to look for, or you get a feeling. Sometimes I don't even think about it or know it. I just do the right thing because I've done it so much. No, it's nothing against you personal, or it's just, yeah, overpaints are the best, easiest. Or making notes or markers, but just And we even do this artist under, yeah, good artists do this from each other. It's nothing. And yeah, keep going with, I would study some, maybe some perspective or look at artworks that have for composition something similar to this or what you want to achieve to get inspiration and or play with some simple shapes, grayscale, black and white almost, and have this. Yeah, I mean the lighting is still. I mean, you would have to work out. I think there's a lot of. And don't be afraid to change something. You already painted this. I don't know. Sometimes you paint for hours and you still haven't figured out what how it is, how you want to put, where to put things and what. And but anyway, sometimes you just go next and not get caught too long, too much in something and get frustrated. And then you're afraid of change. And some parts maybe you think, oh, this is cool, this I like this, and you've even though it's not working in the composition or something, contrast or color, even if you know it and always in back of your head you say, no, but took me an hour to paint it, I can't change it, I don't want to change it, or you got lucky and looks cool, you think, and that's the best advice is just do it. Get rid of things you even painted a long time, or if you feel it's not working, it's not good, just remove it or change it. Don't be afraid of change, and that's why you should, as long as possible, stay really rough and flexible and figure it out this way. Sometimes I do this for hours and still haven't. Yeah, making thumbnails, it's the best thing. And I don't do little pictures. I just draw it broadly and fast and change things. You can cut things with select tool and scale it, and don't be afraid to. Can still work out something, and it's messy, but you have an idea and you can paint it again and use that as a reference. And often people don't don't even consider these things, and it's the most important thing. Otherwise, you don't learn. Just for example, doing a really messy, like then you just adjust things, paint again, and it's just a sketch. And there would be other things required to change. It's not that simple, but I mean, already this little change does something. I'm not sure what, but sometimes you get then the most, the best thing I love is then you get something happening like this shape here, and then suddenly you recognize It can be even something happening, an accident, a happy accident. By cutting and moving things, that can happen, and you recognize, oh, this is cool, and without doing this, you won't ever get to this point to see something. And usually, when working without reference, just imagination, it's really tough, and always try find references. I just do it for fun without, and try to escape my own way of doing things always the same. Yeah, and value-wise, color-wise, it's, I think, nice start for first landscape. It's great. It's cool. Uh, you can play more with color with this green, some variation. It's all the same a bit. I give more, some variation in greens, warm greens, cool greens. Green is really hard. It's this whole spectrum from almost yellow, orange to almost blue. This whole range is green. Some more, some less, and yeah, try out different. The values is like this is a bit the same. This is the same. This is the same. This just sometimes really subtle variations in those bright spots can really make a painting work and look great or dramatic. It's just a few points for you to consider. So let's move on to the next, if you're okay. There's also this guy here. This is, I didn't even really pay attention, but maybe open the view a bit more. That's what I mean by if you think like you paint this and then you paint the small things to see a bit in the horizon in the back and think, oh, it would be nice to have see this more. Just get rid of this, cut it or overpaint it. Don't be afraid to change. Maybe some value breaks here and just have fun with it. Don't be too caged into what you do. And oh, hello. Okay, I had to change to the other microphone. My headset just turns off. I don't know why. Maybe it thinks I had it the whole day on and played some game earlier, but now that I live stream, it's yeah. You're welcome. Nice painting. Nice. Keep it up. And keep it simple still, it's nice. It's okay to use one green and then sky, and it's hard. It's so many things you have to consider. Just try small variations or experiment, and you won't learn with a few paintings or just with one painting everything. You need dozens, if not hundreds, of painting to get really get better and understand things, to get the intuition for. Okay, then we have spectre. Yeah, thank you, Ink, for joining. Pleasure to help or give some input. Yo, young concept artist, wannabe spectre. I have no clue who you are, but yeah, looks great. Welcome. I already copied it. And you ask, how was it? Some tips about the best ways to gear my work so that it could be used as concept art in a production pipeline. Yeah, really nice. How old are you, and do you, or how long you paint, or do you go to school? 25, and you go to something, taking choral course, or just learning yourself? Looking for something that you're painting or doing this since 6 years or what? Nice clouds. Looks like you used reference, or even that doesn't look photobashed. It looks painted, but from a photo you used as a guy or referent. The really nice formation. It's Aquis. It's a school or classes. Learn squared. So do you have some experience or knowledge of concept art? Or do you have no idea and just think, oh, it's something you really like to work? Mostly it's film, games, kind of industry. For student games. And how is this 3 examples from your portfolio, or is this all you have? Or you have more work, I guess. And then if you have Yeah, but you have to put it in the Discord. It's not enabled in the Twitch chat. On ArtStation. So you have environments and characters. These. So these are all. Are these all painting, all work you have done yet to show or have like a portfolio? This is 3 paintings, and you have this other one, this 2, and there's character. There's some. Cool. Only what I deem worthy of my portfolio. Yeah, I mean, sure, you want to usually put your best work in your portfolio, unless it's me. I paint, I do I put everything. But I mean, it's in general, it's a good thing, but sometimes even showing more work you have done, even if it's not your best, can work, because even if you think it's not best, it's showing something sometimes. And some ADs or scouters look for certain things, and even some also say put your best work on only. It's better if you have only 3 or 5 of your best, and then 20 or 100 bullshit. And I think some true, but it's something in between. I think also sometimes good to put some. You showed you tried something or experimented something. Yeah, it's just because I mean, I never worked in the concept art industry or as concept artist, but I have a lot of experience and knowledge from what I've seen, what I've read, from my life experience. And it's also something I looked into recently, or last 1-2 years. Picked up some things. So, of course, the portfolio is always an important, the most important factor or thing you have, and there's a lot more. There's also communicating, working in a team, and there's yeah, if you can show, I mean, even with a small portfolio, you can really show what you can do, and it's, yeah, maybe have some more would be good. It's always good to have some, because your concurrent, how do you say, the other guys who want to make concept art are on your level or better than you, or you have to, yeah, fight for everything. I'm not sure how the demand on concept artists is, and that's, I have no clue. I think there's some demand, or a lot of demand in game and film, but there's also many who can do it or want to do it, and it's kind of tough. So even if you don't make it, I would just keep doing your thing if you love it, and even maybe in 5 years or maybe even 10 years you have more life experience, and this can work out at the later stage. Just don't give up, because even some of the best artists started small, and only because they're really stubborn and try to apply for positions for years until they get it, or some are lucky and get in. But a lot is also contacts and being visible and communicating. I mean, just putting things, even notes on your concept art, like you have here. This can also show some sort of communication or some writings, because a lot is also written, or is things verbally communicated from ideas and art. It's also separate skill. It can be hard if you lack, or if you're really bad at. But I think it's nice. You have some cool stuff, and showing a bit more like this stuff looks. Concept art is not about being a good painter. There's many concept artists are good, can draw well and paint well, but they're not like really good, or it's not something demanded in these positions. It's more about ideas and putting out things on paper for others to pick up, and it goes in this direction you show here. But I would some recommend specializing, or more having your thing, like you go landscape environments. I mean, there's always some people in it, but it's not about character, but it's about environment design or character design. It's hard to master everything. This is only very small artists are a small amount of artists are able to excel in character design and landscape environment design. But if you feel you can do it, why not? It's just hard work to get good with figures, concept, characters building, because it's not only about visualize something, it's about functionality design and everything, how you communicate an idea, an emotion, even on an emotional level, story level. And such things are more like key shots from scenes, or goes more into the other thing would be then arch with like architectural things, and that discipline in itself. So a lot make the distinct thing. They go 100% character design because they like it, they can do it well, they love it. And some only do environment art and specialize in this thing. And since you have to be really good to have a job and survive in the industry or live from it, and then there's many concept art niches, like for games, and you have a style, something, and game developer likes your style, and you have one job, but after that you have nobody wants this style. So it's always a bit dangerous to rely on that, but you can maybe have a job or two. And it's the same with landscapes yeah, you have to be able to stick to ideas or concept from others and apply your own ideas and visualize it. And it has to be fast, so it's not you have all the time to make it, and many use photo bashing, so maybe this would be something you can specialize in, because you have to like produce a couple of these a day, and nobody gonna want you to have 1 week or one day one painting. I mean, it depends, but often it's and not about really detailed. Some use photos to get details across that look good and realistic, and don't have to paint it. And yeah, character design is really hard. It's not easy at all, and it's a lot about an emotion or a character. A certain character has a certain mentality, and try to visualize and show it by having some dynamic, some position or pose. It can help. Some do like architectural or more props concept. There's a lot of different parts in concept art. It's not just environment. And some concept artists do a lot of some of these things, and yeah, it depends what you like and what you're good in. And sometimes more like, you stick to one thing and really specialize and really show large amount of work, where you design something, present something, put your thoughts on paper, make some nice shots. I think you're on the right path, but I'm not sure character design is your thing. I'm not sure. These look nice, and I don't know, maybe have some theme topic and explore that, and showing a process of, and it doesn't always have to be like paint really well and perfect, and just communicate a mood, showing some, and some are picked for concept art because they can really nail something, like a certain design, and match and develop style into something. Often it's about, hey, look this film, look this game, we want to do the same, and you have to adapt. So it's not always your own style that counts, or what you're good in. Sometimes you have to do things you don't, or you have a hard time. And I mean, these pictures you have are nice. I think you can try improve a lot on a bit on composition wise. I use some extreme formats, and maybe have a broad how do you say, broad spectrum of different settings or one setting in different conditions like winter, summer. And in such a thing it would be, I don't know, maybe about how this building looks, or there's a sketch. And what I suggest or think you can do is really look for everything you can find. Everything you can find about concept art and suck that in. Just everything you find. Videos, interviews. There's a lot of things on the internet. It's full of things. And ArtStation is a good place as well. There's a lot of good concept artists. I have, let me see this. This is also nice, but at the end, maybe for a rendering a shot, showing something, I would like it more mood, more expression. I don't know, but it's at the end. It's also showing at the end the design. I think you have this on those a bit. How does it show from behind, from side? You have something here. Really excessive, like showing that character from all sides. Draw it many times, or show how details, how things look, objects you maybe don't see from all sides. And yeah, there's many good videos about. I recently looked a video like an hour from an old concept artist that got into it early in the 80s. Where's my collection? Oh, okay. I have some examples here from concept artists. Yeah, it's a lot about communicating shapes and colors, things here. I mean, this is using photos and mixed, and I don't know, 3D. 3D is also used a lot, just to make it simpler, speed up. Just look at these guys, what they are doing for games that are pros, and you get a feel what you have to do, or what people expect from you. It's not always has to be this. It can be like designing props or something, lightning, moods, stuff. It's just showing nice illustrations, but it has a certain style and mood that fits the game and is surely directed. And showing things, key shots, things in scene, and that can be used as reference later for modelers, 3D modelers, or matte painters. This is almost like a matte painting. There's a lot of variety and a broad spectrum of things concept artists do. And yeah, look at the profiles of guys who been in the business for a long time. I had Sergei's piece. Different setting. That's the torso only guy. his only commission I was proud of. Closed the. You mean this? Yeah, it is surely. It's not like real concept art thing. It's a portrait, a nice painting, but I mean, they do amazing stuff with all kind of tools and help from other guys, and it's sometimes many things are teamwork, and it can go for like someone did a 3D. There's a character, and you have to design new clothes, a color concept. It's not even you doing this guy. It's just you pick up someone else's, or yeah, and it's experimenting with. It's a lot about color, and I mean composition wise, it's nice to have good something good that's interesting, and but it's all more or less objective view of things. So illustrations that so with some game character showing the environment. He didn't paint this. It's a 3D model and maybe a bit adjusted the lighting. Maybe it took him 10 minutes to put this guy in. So photos, but it's not easy if you, yeah. Something you have to practice and have experience in things, by paintings, lighting, color. And these shots are more or less then to sell something and show something, a mood, and not, oh, this is all painted by hand, took a week. This took a couple hours to make for experience. Maybe worked a half a day or a day maximum. Is that okay for you? Do you have any questions? And yeah, sometimes you just have to find your style, what you're really good in, what can you make work. Because it's often, I'm being honest, you have to be really good to make it concept art, or to be a good concept or successful concept artist in, yeah, in what you do, and be flexible, do some 3D work, or I don't know. Just this guy, this Sergey. I mean, some are really masterpieces, but still put together really simple and fast. Some are fun work, but it's always showing like a world building, like a moon and things, scenes that really sells something, and often needs a lot of things and details to put in. It's not it's not always just a landscape with a mountain like I do. But I'm working full-time, day job. I don't paint. Not doing art full-time yet. And I have a lot of 3D experience, and I want to do more stuff. Yeah, I like simple landscapes. Just have fun. And yeah, I would look at a lot of these guys' things and get inspired, try something. Making some environments and out of a couple references, photos that show a mood or some design, and show them, put them in the portfolio, and together with the just it's not about only about creating beautiful pictures, and showing the process is a lot. It's worth a lot, and they really look for this. Okay, next is thank you for joining, and hope I hope you can make it. Keep it up. Next is this Aureai. I don't know how to pronounce. Is Aureai still in the chat? Alright. I am in Twitch, you're in Twitch, and I am what? Yeah, nice. We have this cute. This very cute thing here. I don't know what it is. A dragon child, like stylized anime style, or some Disney animation. And you're also streaming, or what? You're on Twitch. I am. It's really cute. I had problems a bit with how do you say, figuring out what's going on, where the limbs are coming from and going to, and the pose. It's the same color. So I mean, if I look at the small thumbnail, it's hardly recognize how. I mean, if you zoom in, look at full size, and I can figure out he's like on the back, but turning around, and this is the left arm and the right arm, and this is the left foot. on the right foot, something like this. Yeah, adds that it's similar all the place here, but it's not the only the real problem. I think is more with the shape and the way these limbs are. It makes hard to. I mean, it has some recognizable like this kind of position, but then also with these wings it gets a bit messy here around this area and what's happening, what is in front, what is in the back. It's hard to do this well, and but at the end it's recognized as a, you can figure it out and see it kind of is cute in his cute position, that so you can show his face. I mean, yeah, but it in this cartoony style, I mean, it's great. It's fun. It looks nice. Well done. Also like this little grass that's sticking. It creates a bit of room and position and depth. Also the shading and looks okay. Looks nice. His tail looks almost like a limb, like a foot or a leg. I haven't noticed this before, but it's maybe, yeah, not like a fox, or I don't know. Maybe have this tail a bit more. Play around with this tail a bit. Be a nice thing maybe. And yeah, wings are hard to draw. I know it's wings are always hard. And I always see this shape like horizontal, this line, and then tuck this. Yeah, it's crazy. It's really tough. You did well. I just liked if this would be more, I don't know, a slight curve, something, but it's really hard to work out. Sometimes you have to try out many things, but something that helps this shape of him, the positioning. Could be something, and then yeah, but the colors are nice, and background you did something, and it's this blurry out of focus. It helps the depth of the painting of this scene. It's almost too. Personally, I would like more. Could be even simpler. It's almost too much, or it doesn't require. I mean, it's not much, but it could be even simpler. Just little variants in the shape, and maybe just a stick or something, a tree bark, and not even details, and because this is different renderings, a different style than cartoon almost. And then nice transition to the foreground. It's nice, and in the foreground, I mean, this is all like framing, staging your subject and the painting, your work. That is a nice ideas and nice start.
Bajito, que son las 10 de las 11 de la noche.
Yeah, my wife. Yeah, the framing of this. These are simple elements that work well, and I think you could even play more, maybe even have this out of focus, and just really subtle the background, and make this maybe one thing or two things larger even, and have some. I mean, you can look a lot at cartoon films, even also old ones from Disney or Pixar, and look for how they frame some scenes, like some cute scenes in a forest. Sometimes you see just also some blurred sticks, just a branch of a tree, just to have bit. This is almost tend to be a bit boring in the way it's put on, just in the center. Not much going on with tension from getting out of this. It's like hard to explain. I had to stick a little bit with what the I don't know what the commissioner wanted, but I think it's a lot about. Where's my tablet? Yeah, it doesn't require much and doesn't need change what's inside or what's shown. And I think the commissioner maybe, I don't know what briefing was. Yeah, and that's what he did, and I just mean by I would maybe position this slightly. Could also the position of this is so it's. I mean, perspective-wise, it's hard. And I don't know if you have had a reference, but if it's like more, here's the head and the back goes this way. It's like straight. It's almost like a cross, and it's in the center. But even just small. I mean, you even can. The best thing is you don't have to paint this part from the. And even just small, just a little thing can help even more, create even more depth, and such things help the focus, put the focus more on this. And yeah, so you can even overlap. Don't be afraid to make bold, make it. But I always you have to be careful and not put too much, not put everywhere, like something that's more something that's it's also helping. It's creating a contrast from and you can play around and have fun and discover something you like, and also then on a new layer, and you can change it. And I don't know how much would be good, but I would just play around. And maybe 2-3 things, not you can try out, but sometimes maybe a little more. And sometimes you see you feel it's too much. You don't want to put like on every corner and make it too similar. Just have some more larger, more smaller. It helps the dynamic of the framing, make it more interesting, that's all. Yeah, and it most likely have to be out of focus a bit, or sharp, I don't know. And then maybe in the background, as I said, make it even simpler. Every little shape you put has an effect on how it looks and how it's read. And just maybe one or just a little showing some grass. That's enough. It's not about the background, and sometimes you can then more like giving something else. If you think it's too simple, try out some that's the biggest mistake every artist or new beginner makes. It's don't be afraid of change. And if you always only do what you think and paint a painting from one side to one other side and call it finished, you're never gonna learn anything, or really slow and small. And to get better, you have to make things, change things, and make things worse. So you recognize, it's a constant feedback loop. You do something and you see it, watch the thumbnail, and the more you do it, the more experience you get. And then it doesn't mean you always get it perfect, but you're able to recognize some things. You think, this is too complicated, it looks too simple, I need this shape. I could try divide it, some tree, and see what's happening, and then don't be afraid to again remove it or tone it down, and try many different things that will help you. And then, yeah, you do many such paintings and always do things wrong. Don't be afraid of making things look crazy, stupid, whatever. That's the most important part. One of the most important part to fail, to then again change it, to make it work. And I know this myself. I always have to push myself and say, like, okay, I painted this already. That's my fault. I already painted too much detail or too early, and I'm afraid of losing it. I mean, many times it happens when I paint something accidentally and I really like it, and I don't like to change it because it's kind of stupid. Too many layers. This was one of my first backgrounds because, but you did really well. You see, I think, just little things that can help improve you on the right path, the right direction. It's really cool. It's cute. And you play around with all nice things. Just always never be, always question the thing you do, and is this really, you have this position or someone tells you he wants this, or he just wants a blue cute dragon, and it's up to you to make a position, and it can be really hard. Also, I know this, and it doesn't always work out, and it can be frustrating. And sometimes I've like 10 tries and I'm still not happy. But then I find out like the first idea and version I had was really good. If I maybe just change something a bit here and there, and I wouldn't be able to tell that if I didn't make the other 10 that failed. That's why failing is the most important thing to learn. Just because you try other things and fail, you recognize other things that work, and because of that, make different versions and compare. And sometimes you're lucky and it really works well and you're happy. It's okay. And the color is nice. I think it's a nice contrast. This blue and the green, it's similar, so but it's distinguishable enough. I think could be even a bit more. I don't know. Just maybe a personal thing. The craziest thing is sometimes you really need just a little thing changed and it works. It's a lot better. And you have to find out what, and the more you do, the more you fail and try, you find out and get experience, and for next paintings you can use. And always think about contrast of color, and like this blue, mostly orange work really well with blue. And now it's a cool, also blue background. Maybe it could be in contrast to that, it could be instead a bit like an orange tone. But that's sometimes personal preference, and or a cool, more of a pinkish, really a red. And too many layers can be a problem if you're not comfortable with that, and it's more a problem for you than it's helping. Then I would try to find a way to only really do layer where you think it's really needed, and try as much as possible to how you say, merge layers if you think and if you think it's okay, and commit something, like commit to it. Too many layers can be of because the reason some people use many layers because they're afraid or fear of and there's many ways why use layers and many things you can do, but if it's just I want to save this and make another layer for every tiny little bit, then try to make less, and we have this figure on a layer and the background on a layer. Maybe the background could be 2 layers, or the background this and the foreground a layer. So I don't know, it's very easy to fall into do not want to fail whole. No, it's never. I mean, also sometimes afraid of, and I use many layers, but if it's hindering you and making things hard. I mean, I have a complex painting. I have like over 100 layers now or more. Now maybe 80. But I still have it organized, and it still needs effort to know. But I kind of like to have just 3 or 4 key parts of the painting and our environment. Keep it separate as long as possible, but at some point you just want to commit and then have maybe only 2 layers or 3, or maybe only 1 at the end. Just that's it, and all 1 layer, and then you can put some finishing detail and highlights, and even if you think it's not completely the best, just be happy and move on. That's the best thing you can do. It can be so nice after you have many layers, just merge it down to 1 and then stick to it, be happy, and then just paint the details and make things, finish things you think, and it can be so revealing, and to work only then on 1 layer and only worry about 1 thing. Is that okay for you? I mean, you're doing great. A cute style. I think many people like this. Also use mirror, flip flip it, and especially figure drawing paintings, it's a lot you can see that still looks strange or wrong. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Hope you enjoyed, learned something, or inspiration. That's the best thing about this. Oops. Cool. Next is Benji sketch. Are you in the chat still? Just want to say I make quick 5 minute most. Just having a quick break. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed and learned something. I'm happy. That's why I love doing these things, help people. Don't be afraid, play around with bold shapes and stuff. And you still can you have your cute little figure you draw and move it around, scale it, and at the end still you can say, okay, I messed up, but I can paint it again. I know exactly how now. I figured it out. Nobody, best artists, they don't just start with the canvas blank and paint and it's perfect. It's They had a lot of sketches and stuff previous. Okay, Benji sketch. I'm just making a quick break, 2-3 minutes maybe. Sorry. It's okay. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Benji's catch is next. Well, let me see what we have. This one. So oh, flashy. Okay. Are you there? Cool. Awesome so far. I just want to know why this dominant red, pink all over the place. Can we see some chat? How these called airplanes? Jet planes. Yeah, it's monochromatic. Really, it's a magenta. Like magenta colored. So you did first a grayscale or just all? Almost looks like you had some grayscale. Whoops! I have this handy, convenient key. Make a pre-flight print. Pre-flight that's set to grayscale. So you can also use a layer and so this is maybe, oops. Okay. Yeah, I see that it's monochromatic, and but the pink, I don't question why, really why pink, I don't know, or this magenta. I like the color, and you have some variance in the this tone and saturation. That's good. But I question is it really helping, or is it, what is it? Is it too much? Maybe. So that when I look at grayscale, it's much easier on the eyes. It's kind of okay. Why not chromatic, and then why not kind of this color you maybe like? It's almost, I feel it's too much, too much on the eyes, and you could. I think it would be possible to have the same kind of also monochromatic still, but maybe have more. I don't know, more variance in the values. I mean, also a lot is from composition and the shapes, how you put things in, and it's I can see it. It is almost like when it's grayscale. It's really hard. It's tough. You know, the saturation and this really dominant color being used all over the place, and the kind of differences and things happening isn't doing it better or pushing it to something that's really, I mean, it's really hard to nail or make it work. And I see this kind of as an explosion, and this jet that's flying and shooting missile, and this is whatever, I don't know, it's explosion, maybe another something that's blown up, and there's a mountain right here, some background, some it's hardly visible, the I don't know if it's meant to be mountains and then sky, clouds. I just don't like this, having too much of this color. It's for me, it's, I don't know, it's aggressive or not aggressive, almost too much. And see, this magenta is like pure magenta color used in print, and it has a certain style or mood to it. I think for me, the composition and shapes, your decisions with also how you cut this off, and this mountain looks almost like gray, almost lost, is a different style or different lighting or something. And then you have this object that's really popping also with colors, and the clouds. I just question if it's better to tone it down and go for just a bit. I mean, the most saturated is here, and this is less. So you have different saturations, but it kind of shows you try to make it not the same. Oh, that's good. And also, as I said earlier, the first painting, like, is could this work, the composition from being landscape? I mean, it's not that bad, but maybe horizontal, maybe more. So you have, this is almost like narrow, and the 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 reason why I say this is because it looks a bit like it's a dynamic scene, a key shot from like a film, and it's be like immersive, and that works mostly or better with landscape format. That's why, and it's such like I don't know, sci-fi, something fantasy style that will give you a bit more playground, and maybe put the ship here and the explosion on the right side. I mean, this also it could work, and I think it's just I don't really like the composition, how you put this and this on the canvas. Not so much exciting, and the color doesn't really help, and it's, but the thing that's there is kind of nice, and has a nice, I think it's a nice start for maybe something. But also don't be afraid to play around with composition, shape, how we put things. This could be a nice first idea, and kind of paint a sketch, and then try to different things, try out different things. Try to think what format would be best for this scene I want to show, and maybe you have this picture in mind, and that's also okay, but I would try more. It's really hard, this angle from this ship and how it's cut. It's cut in unfortunate position or way, that I think that's what annoys me. Hello, dude. And could it be like more in this? More less tilted, and maybe overlapping. The explosion is more like on this side. Let's see. I mean, just the ship. It's really hard on the portrait mode for this scene. That's the feeling I have. That's why it's. And maybe it works, it just needs another angle or view or cut of this spaceship, of this ship. Maybe even really have just cut the thing and have this and have the explosion like an overlap, something like this. And then also it's really hard, this mountain, I think, makes it also hard to, I think it's not even needed really much or anything. Maybe just a gradient could help the whole thing. Let me try quick. It's almost like also the mountain is a different language in the painting because it's desaturated. Then I think this is even more, even more with having even more of this color could be better. So I don't like it's too bright to make this. It's all the same all over the place. That's why maybe I just try or say like a gradient maybe could just to demonstrate the effect, and maybe it needs just a little bit more dramatic approach, or trying to and also or maybe this background here a bit darker, so this explosion kind of thing pops more, comes more to the foreground. It's already, there's a variation going, so that's good. It's clearly visible, clearly see what's going on, and sometimes hiding something could be cut off and just show a part, and it could still work and make it more interesting that way. It's let me see. I don't know. It's just that the dramatic scene, I see the color doesn't really help for me or work, and the format is maybe not helping. It's hard to say. It's like also this shape, that the size is very similar to this. It's, the whole thing, I mean, it's not that bad. It's not. The most thing that annoys me is like how it's cut here on a way I don't feel I can agree. It's almost like annoys me that there's, why is this cut here? That's always things is really important. What happens at the edge of the canvas, where where it's and how it's cut, the shapes it's producing. And why not maybe, yeah, try different things, make this really big. Just you only see a really small part, but it's really in the foreground, and push this more in the background. This kind of thing I would try. And yeah, color wise, it's really hard to say. I don't know why. I see it's meant to be an explosion and there's fire, and I see this pink that's throwing me off something somehow. It's nothing. I don't know you and no other work you did and how you like it, and I don't want to be. It's nothing personal or want to put you down. It's just my the feeling I have. And even maybe just try first just grayscale, natural. Already the mountain this way works better because it's not this weird. It's almost like a different thing. And then you can still go and color it. Sometimes there's in Krita there's a gradient map. That's kind of cool too. This I don't know if it's what you're working with. It's Photoshop, I think, has this something as well, and you can have this pink. I mean, go really hard on. Can define the range. I mean, gets even stranger, but even like having two colors can make a huge difference. And with such a tool you can quickly try out different variation. And if you go, why is it color. Yeah, I think it's hard with this pink and then the saturation. I like it more grayscale or some. Yeah, you can make a cool range of it. You can even have more and really play around with the contrasts easily and put in a third color. You have something in between. Play around with saturation, and then see. Kind of crazy then how different color can create different mood. Need some understanding and experience, but you can go for it. And even then, maybe have a new layer and be creative. Try out colors. Look for some color theme, inspiration for contrast of colors, or have some desaturated is always good, and have more accent colors that are more shiny and paint over it with 2 or 3 other colors. And I have no idea. I just maybe even only one monochromatic or really reduced palette, and then have one accent color. They use really in a small part. Maybe have something on this happening as well. Maybe make this blur, or I don't know, or have instead of this orange going more red, and have like it's always finding out what you have to do to push it to a point where it's too much, or that's I don't know if this advice or this helps you, but I think you already seen what's possible, and I think this is already a lot better, even though maybe not your color, but the other one is quite aggressive and weird. I think that to have pink is really strong color and not creating a lot of emotion or mood. It's more of an accent color. Yeah, is that this filter layer here, this gradient color map, I can also change the opacity of this layer, and it's already, you quickly see what's happening, and make this less saturated. Changes this orange again. Yeah, cool. And this is iPad format. That's why it's this size. I was thinking because it said Procreate. Almost looks like standard iPad size. And I know it's hard in Procreate on the iPad. If you, I couldn't paint. I mean, for some doodling experiments, okay. I just feel like narrowed down to a small screen that I'm uncomfortable with. Kind of, I need the large screen to see it, and but I'm not saying it's bad. It's a good tool. I would also use it just to be on the sofa or outside. It's a great tool. Yeah, that's it for this, and we can go next is blank. Copy. Yeah, thank you for coming and sharing your work. It's already a good first step. Ooh, crazy. Zombie. Is a blank here in the chat. Then we have the next would be Piatek. Is a maybe blank is already gone or AFK. Is blank is not here, I think. Discord is on invite. I have to share a link, or I'm not sure it's public. It's called Soma's art server, but I'm not sure it's public. There's a on my Twitter I posted. I think that should still be working because they only work for so long, and then they time out. I don't know, after 24 hours. There's on my Twitter I made a or maybe wait, where's the here. Yeah, bye Jack Sparrow, thanks for joining. Keep it up. Do amazing concept art. I'm just reviewing from strangers or fans or whatever, and I have a channel on my Discord. Can post, and I did this 2 times already. This is the 3rd time, and the videos are somewhere on YouTube, or they're saved on the Twitch as Twitch WOD, but they get deleted after 2 weeks because I'm not a partner. So I export some of them to my YouTube. And yeah, I just try to give feedback and help and give some inspiration or do you have seen the link on my Twitter? It's in the Twitch bio. So blank is not here. He or she is maybe already gone because it's late here in Europe. So the next would be where's Pchatek. I don't know how to pronounce it. Why do people always have weird names I can't spell? Piatek. Piatek. He's not here. Or is he here? Did even... He's not in the Discord. And I don't see him in the chat list. No. Doesn't... unless he's has another name. And this doesn't count. Yeah, maybe it took too long. We're already 2 hours in, 2.5 hours. And we have new followers. Colleen and Hydra Lungeon. Hydras Lunchen. Thank you for the follow. Yeah. So I'm not sure. It also looks crazy. Any cool? There's a lot of color. Really shine, really vibrant colors. The orange. It has an Indian touch. Many Indians have this red, purple. So yeah, I don't want to review someone who's not in the chat. And it's not. And we don't have any more. This was just a picture, his portfolio. He was the first one. It's also funny, Nikki gave some this guy some feedback on his, and I was going to make a review stream, but at the end I didn't. I was too tired. But so like, hey, this is, I want to review this. It's no problem. Nikki is a nice person, always helpful, looking for people, but she's always lurking and not so active. But when someone needs help, she's looking. And Marco Bucci is really He's a really nice guy. Has a lot of educational content he creates on YouTube and others, and he's a great artist. He has a lot of experience in painting. It's always it's a good resource for learning and understanding. I think pinged Marco Bucci video for a while after. I think what's pinged. He has a lot of also different. I haven't really followed him much. I've seen a couple videos, and they're really great, really good. And he has also, I think, something started using 3D and stuff. So he's also doing a lot of different things. It's always good. What do you think about Dave Oposa's art? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I know him. I'm sorry. It's a comic artist. Not sure, I think I heard of the name. I think also seen some. But I'm not sure. I think I've seen some. It's a great, yeah, it's a nice, great illustrator. There's a lot of character, stylized. Really cool. Really inspiring. Some different kind of subjects and styles. Like he worked on Destiny comic, looks like. Yeah, and some concept art, mostly character focused, so he's also doing work for Wizards, Magic the Gathering. Really cool, nice stuff. Reminds me, surely he's mostly influenced by Frazetta, Frank Frazetta, great comic artist from 80s, 70s, 80s. And really flashy art from Marvel as well. Cool. just on his website. It's like so cover art and film or poster covers. Venom. Yeah, it's clear he has a lot of experience and skill in drawing figures like these. Zombies. And a surreal style, flashy. I like this a lot. The comic, really nice rendered, detailed, nice line art, colors. Also, a funny thing is there's a lot of cooperation going on between artists. Some draw the lines, the other color. Some do all by themselves. It's amazing. Like this. I'm sure he must be also already older, in his 30s or 40s. I'm not sure. I don't really know him. But just seeing from the quality and the amount of work he done, at least maybe 20 years in the business. Or 15 years. 35, yeah. But he most likely started with age of 3, 4, 5, drawing figures, characters. Maybe this is some old work, I don't know. Yeah, and looks like he's successful. It's great. Nice. Yeah, I mean, many comic artists do that. I even do it myself. I'm just not that much into character. I did a lot when I was young, and I never used reference. It's just knowing the basics and anatomy kind of thing and working perspective that you just have to practice a lot, and then many, I'm sure even also he has used some references, but over the years and you don't really need it. Just maybe need a couple tries, or and the more and more you do, you kind of nail it, and you know exactly what to do, what to look for. And reference is always good. It's good to learn, good to study and build. And even some, also these lot of good comic artists, they worked years from like studying figures and poses and stuff, and they have a natural, like, if you've done so many times, and it's not just hundreds, it's thousands of these kind of drawings, you can do really quick and understand poses and proportions you can play around with. You don't need references a lot. And there's many, especially comic artists can do it a lot. I mean, draw Spider-Man. I mean, it's knowing how and what shapes. And if you figure out perspective and foreshortenings, all this stuff, it's doable. It's not. I think some people can do it better, others need more guide or assistance. At the end, when someone sees the picture, nobody knows what he's done. Is it trace? Is it from reference? Is it just from imagination? It doesn't really matter at all. It's just what it is, how good it is. Then saying he didn't use references for poses is okay. He's a pro. He's doing this all his life, and I'm sure and it's impressive, but it's not making it any better or worse. Like this guy. Yeah, so the thing, no, is there any new? There's a new one, the Hydro Lungeon. I think he posted something. We can maybe do this, and then I will go off. Yeah, maybe one more I can do, and then I have to go. Is that you? That dude? No, it's not you. Who is it? Is he in the? Arky. No, wait. What? Hydra? You can have a different name on the server? Arky? I didn't even notice. I didn't know you can change your name. What's displayed here? And have another. Yeah, you've been in the chat earlier. Hydra. What do we have here? Nice. Uh-oh. Huge sign in the middle. Yeah, cool, nice. Welcome to the stream, and thanks for posting. I want to get some critique on this painting. Yeah, I know. It's even then, I mean, people are just mean and don't value the artists. Yeah, that looks awesome. Looks nice. Can I reduce the color palette and color theme, and kind of tone down. Yeah, for a long time I didn't even put anything on my paintings and started only like half a year ago. Because even a small sign sometimes just I don't like it. But we're in a time and world of thefts, thieves, and yeah, and looking at the thumbnail also looks nice. And there's this hill with some building structures or something here in the back. I don't know if this meant to be a tree. Clouds are nice. Some nice values we have. It's like a bit like indicating an atmospheric perspective. The sun, really shiny. And you have a foreground, nice focus on this, somewhere in middle ground. I have some stuff in the background. It's creating a nice view and perspective. It's cool. It's nice. The foreground, the contrast works well. Stuff like this, it's easy. Can't do anything or much wrong. That's also clearly visible and readable. Also in the thumbnail. And I'm not used to doing landscapes and such, so I have no idea what to ask. And what do you usually do? Not landscapes and such. You do more like figures or and I like the colors, I like the values, where it's going, and some nice touch and some nice lightning. Okay. Yeah, but then it looks like you had some understanding of painting or to create a nice framing. Tried some nice shapes and stuff. Could be I don't like these two shapes that are really similar in size and all. The thumbnail's not that noticeable, but looking like this, it's also a bit weird, and the facing of this horse, and he seems to look somewhere in this direction, and it's not clear. I just assume he's looking, and it's not that bad. It's just, to me, it's pointing outside. So simply put the horse on the other side. Maybe would be simpler and work, and it's really facing left, like straight. Maybe have some, and then it's hard for the foreshortening, of course, perspective, if the horse is more like turning around as well. Maybe not this plain side view. That makes the whole thing a bit more flat. There's something maybe help if it's like really direction, like the first thing one would think or try is like horses on this side and looking the other way around. And this could also work, but I think it needs a bit. I'm not sure it's the pose exactly. It's maybe something really small, just the head, or looks like it's really marching left side outside the painting. That's visually it's not that bad. I think it's more like of a maybe also personal. I don't say it's bad. I like the it's going this direction, and but the important thing is on this side. But it's almost like if the horse also turns the head a bit or something, could make a bit different. Maybe put it more, even more a bit on the right. But then, yeah, these opening spots. Also, you always have to watch out if this head is inside it. Maybe you have some problems. But overlappings are always good to create layers and depth. And I also see a lot in my paintings, or I'm aware of, or some older paintings where I always fight it against this, because I work from also without just imagination, and you always tend to make things layered and flat. So sometimes putting something diagonal and it's hard to sometimes get the perspective, but it can help really a lot in making it more interesting. You have something point this side and point this side, and kind of zigzag thing, and I think just overall it's nice. It maybe have some details, some more worked out areas. Sometimes some you have. Maybe this tree needs more work, or what it is, some bushes or whatever. I think it's a nice start, and it's awesome. It's already looking great. The colors, with some cool colors on cooler, almost like blue. Yeah, on this, and the reds, yellows. it's really bright, and I clearly see some more shadow going on here. That's my critique. Maybe from the lightning, expect a shadow. And then if you have a dark area here, it suddenly has different shapes. Maybe you need to position this foreground different, and it's always about this stuff when things have like they collapse, and you need some contrast to see the difference, differentiate it, and also color-wise, maybe have something that's also cooler area, maybe this part, and really only have this and some light here to make it more interesting. Could maybe try, like you have some cooler colors here. Where's my pen? What? Where is my pen? Wait. I have to take the other one. Okay. For me, it's too balanced or too much on all sides or overall. The line, just tone it a bit down on one. I'm not sure. Do I have a layer? Or maybe have some really just another bit more. Put more cool colors in. Blue and orange always kind of nice and works. It's nice to play. And yeah, this orange yellow thing's always hard. It's really hard to have to kind of study and practice, experiment with different and then just create little spots where there's another color or something happening, and it's not really, I mean, just trying. And scene, you have this yellow, and then you have this red, this warm red, and overall, for me, it looks nice. The color, and another way is really go almost cool, almost like pink. Can work in a different way, and sometimes better way with these. It's almost kind of getting pinkish, so really go almost gray. I'm not sure. Maybe not the right gray. It really makes a huge difference than having this warm red to almost pinkish or more bluish or cooler red. And it's not easy, and it's really hard to find the right, and more or less this monochromatic or really reduced palette you have is okay, is great. It's just practice, try different things, and really working from cold to warm, try and see what's happening, and use grays, try use grays and stuff. You did on this in the foreground, and it's a already nice contrast. And yeah, it's hard to overpaint like with this brush. If it's already painted, it's hard to just quickly find another, or paint over another another color. Would need a complete change because everywhere there's the same red. There's some cooler areas here. It's cool. Yeah, you see it's already going. And sometimes you don't even notice it's a difference. But then sometimes just going for can be a lot of stuff, or just really fine stuff happening on the horizon. I think this area could be, I'm not sure. It's almost like the horizon, but it's the mountain. So it's some mist or just a little, and it's gray, but it looks blue against this orange. And they sometimes can create great contrasts. Just the neutral gray looks blue and play with it, and don't go blue. Could be nice. You have so much red and orange, so sometimes just having some a neutral or cooler red, almost, it's hard because the sky would be, everything would be different. I have to change to make it work, look good, but it's already creating some more interesting variant, how do you say, different things going on. Yeah, then goodbye, ink. Great, that's good. And these can be really only really subtle. Don't need much, but just putting some like pigments of blue or really just gray, and try out what happens. Different values, and try to create something interesting. And the mood, and you already have that. There's some blue or cooler stuff going on that looks blue, but it's still in the cool red, desaturated. So another is it's like the the depth from all this the sky. It has some nice touch, and I think you can maybe try push it a bit further, but it's always hard and quickly can destroy something that's nice already, and you don't need to find spots where then even going more worked out and detailed and leave some spots really rough. That's creating a nice, and maybe you don't need this horizon glow, or I'm not sure. I think it's working better. I think it's working a lot better, just creating maybe one thing I can give a tip or advice that's also has to do with what I just did a lot. It's lost and found edge that is an important concept in painting. Create interesting, appealing stuff, and you see it a lot in nature. And it's really hard to make it on your own or be aware. But you just have to be aware of and know about it. And it's about the lines and contrasts, and there's not many going on in this. It's all kind of clear. There's some going on here, and there's some happening kind of here, but then you have this line from the horizon, or you have this silhouette from this, and it's all the same kind of contrast. The edge are all clear, visible. So, and the same with the horizon. And lost edges are the ones that, like many times in a shadow from an object, the shadow from a sphere, you lose the edge. You kind of, it's the contrast gets so small, it's not visible, or almost not visible anymore. And if you kind of look at this, when I just do this having this line, losing some, still some there's still something going on, but it's not that hard. It's like not creating that hard distinctive line, and could be that there's some parts where it's it's like hiding this edge and having the contrast, from the sky or horizon to the kind of remove this. The same with on this part. Maybe I have to switch to some other. There's some thing going on here. What I mean with this, the last edge. It's this on this side. Here it's losing. You don't really see it where's the thing. How do you say, where it's stopping and where the background starts, where's the silhouette, where's the edge. And if you put them well in interesting ways, it can really help a lot in the painting. Just do an example here that's kind of tone down this contrast in just in a small area. Something can really help creating more depth, creating more dynamic or different. That's really seen a lot in nature, especially if you think of, or I mean, in some ways like trees, you don't really see where they start and stop, and or if you will have like an armor, a plate armor that's shiny, there's a lot of contrast change in the edges of the armor, and together on the background, what's behind it, that creates area where you don't see the edge anymore, and then you see it again. That's lost and found edge, and it's an important and well known over centuries from old masters to today concept. How there's it's like exactly like this, and you don't some say like you just move. I mean, if I'm using some of it, can also work with just blurring something a bit out, but you have to be really careful because it's not just about I just blur this out to make a last edge, and then it's cool, it's working, it's interesting. It's not at all this way, and just making a last edge here, but just because I can, I have to make some. Someone told me, but it's never, or it's hardly that way. Like you can, it's never like you can. And in some areas where you have like smoke or something, you already have this. Maybe I can. Why is this? This is just the blender. I'm stupid. I mean, I don't know if this water is a wave. There could be some nice things like this happening, but just imagine there's a smoke or something here. It's creating a different contrast and almost make this edge invisible in a part, in a small part. It's more about putting objects and layering and overlaps. That's the thing. It's not working, but just as an example, we have to make some maybe light in this area, but and especially also if you work mostly from imagination, it's really hard sometimes to find this, make it interesting. And the more you aware of and look out and see, okay, no, this is not working well or not readable. And yeah, from imagination we tend to make really clear things and all contrast, clear shape or silhouette. And as soon as we have like in the background something that's we then think, yeah, this is not working. I don't see the edge here anymore, but it doesn't matter. It's if you do it well, it can really create a lot of interesting things can happen, and it's often also in parts where there is a mountain and you have a cloud that's almost the same value as the mountain, and it almost overlaps in its hiding, it's touching, and you lose the edge. That's yeah. That's what really advanced and important, but important concept in painting general. Basic or fundamental, but really special thing. You're surprised how many people don't know about it or know exactly what it is. There's also hard and soft edges, but that's a different thing. It's mostly inside figures, muscles, anatomy stuff, where you, or in clouds sometimes happening. It's going from a hard edge clearly to then maybe just smoothed out. Depending on light and the shape. Not really happy with this brush yet. It's just it's kind of sharp here, and then it blurs out. That's hard, soft edges. Not the same as lost and found edges. It's creating volume and is more in figure. It really can make something interesting and work. Because this is the hard edge and it goes into a soft, blurred out. I think you already maybe know this, but it's experience and a lot in figure painting, drawings, muscles. You see this a lot. And the other thing is resting areas, and it's about when you have everywhere detail and the texture. To have some areas where there's just not much happening, and you have some here, like big spots that have the same, not much texture, and then compared to other parts where there's more detail, it creates a nice dynamic and things you can rest the eye. And if it's all over the place, it can get really busy. And it's also something you just can be aware of and maybe introduce. Or sometimes you also have these spots in the sky, and you have this here, so it's nice. just play, be aware of, and play with this. Have really like not much going on in this yellow, and then slowly starting having really details on this clouds. Maybe have an area that's, or in this mountain, have some really also put in nice little details in some areas, and have areas in the shadow or something that's really the same. I think this should be water, I guess. The water could also maybe reflecting a bit more. I don't know. It's really hard to paint waves and water, but it's cool. It's overall the thumbnail looks really nice, and should just go and do more. Do a lot of this kind of paintings. That's great, and have many. Do try different things and do fast paintings. That's a good thing to make as much as possible. Not bother too much with everything in details, and if you feel like you're not happy and you don't want to paint more, you go try another one. You still can come back, or maybe look afterwards after you've done a couple more, and then you go back and look and see, oh, I now have this experience or something I noticed. Yeah, you could still work on this a bit more and try out. I don't know if you have all in one layer, or maybe have this on a separate layer. You can play around. Always, yeah, mirror the painting. Maybe where this is positioned, or this, and the sun, I think is important, and it's nice. Could maybe if you want to go more dramatic, just play a bit more with going from a little more darker maybe, or work out something in detail and see what's happening. Sometimes, yeah, failing is always good. Trying out. But you did really well. So it's nice color. Some nice things going on with lightning and the values. It's a good start. Well done. Yeah, I don't know you and don't know how much you painted already and what's your style, but this looks nice for first environment. We try to maybe use references, whatever, for or do some landscape studies with look at these skies, all this color that can happening, or some lightning you like, or some cloud formations from other artists or old masters, that Thomas Cole, Edwin Church, Bierstadt. There's some amazing paintings that are really inspiring, what they did with clouds and sunsets. And yeah, this area is a transitions from foreground and background. How do you transition or make this decision of these shapes and contrasts? It's what it's all about, and it's hard. It requires a lot to make it interesting. You still need work on your shapes and try to. Perspective is needs work, but it's already it's great thing. I like the thumbnail. Reads well. It's simple. Doesn't require much to keep it simple. Yeah, that's great. That's good. 4 hours, and then doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to work out or be completely happy. I'm sure you could paint a lot many hours, but at the end, if you can do like in 2 hours or 4 hours, and then you can make a couple a week or maybe 10 in a month, then you learn and step by step. Try simple, keep it simple, and then bit by bit you go, okay, let's try with some gray and more cooler colors and try this out, and introduce another hue or color. But the more you go, the more complicated it gets, and yeah, sometimes it's hard to find the right color, and keeping it simple with 2-3 colors, it's sometimes even it's better. And work more on composition and shapes and concentrate on that, and maybe have a color theme you already know and like, and try it out. I always like to make gradients. And trying out, and then knowing, okay, seeing it's not working, and maybe how you have it already is maybe the best, but what's not interesting enough is maybe shapes or size of something, and changing the right things can sometimes, you don't really need to change the color, you need to change the composition or contrast of some parts, and it's working a lot better. And these are things how to need a lot of experience and practice, and it's even then it's not always working out as expected. This is not the one. And yeah, saturation is hard and really subtle, and requires a lot of trying out sometimes. Really little can make a huge difference. Now, change something. There's some area that's more another lightning somewhere. This is many times this is used to, as you see, this is a lot in dramatic pieces. You see the difference? And sometimes it doesn't require much at all, just the right thing at the right spot. And sometimes, so many times I was looking and almost giving up and frustrated, but in fact I just would have had to do some really simple changes and it would work. Just discovering these things, and you only get better if you do a lot of these things, a lot. You don't get better with 2 or 3 paintings. You don't get a lot of experience. And I do this like trying out many times, and I don't just paint from nothing to everything and it's perfect. And sometimes, many times I use overlays and play with multiplies, not many times not working, but I have overlay or some color dodge, just really, and sometimes desaturating a part, and then you can play really fast. You can play around and then notice, okay, no, this is great, this is cool, and flatten it and keep painting over it, creating a glow somewhere. It would be almost impossible to paint this inside from this stage using a brush. It would be almost impossible. You have to repaint the whole, really. And with digital, that's the good part. You can quickly make, and just be careful and not knowing what to do is the hard part. But once you know it and feel, have intuition, then it gets easier and the more practice. So yeah, I have to go off. It's already late. I have to work tomorrow. I hope this helped. So yeah, the merging this again on one layer, and then you go in and paint. Try to keep this and go from here further. Add some highlights and get rid of too much layers, because if you go too much with these things, then sometimes you lose it, don't know which layer is doing what, and sometimes just these simple things can make a huge difference. And yeah, hope this helps, and if it's not working out, don't listen to me. Don't use these layers, whatever, if you don't feel great, but it's up to you. Yeah, thank you. You too. Keep it up. It's a nice work. I like it. Just simple steps. Don't go too complicated. Yeah, guys, I'm going off. I hope you enjoyed this review stream, and have a great evening or wherever you are, night or morning or whatever. And if you have questions, you can always ask me in the Discord. Or on stream. And yeah, thanks for watching. And see you next time. Bye bye.